Hey everyone, really intriguing topic today around the future of antenna technology across all of our wireless networks and devices. Super intriguing topic. And with an industry leader today at Kyocera. Carmen, how are you?
Hi, Ivan. Thank you for having me.
For being here. You're in beautiful Nice in France. I wish I were there. Sadly, I'm not, but really excited for this chat. Kyocera is a legendary brand. Many of us know the big picture out of Japan, of course, but maybe introduce Kyocera, but your team and your men within the Kyocera group.
Yes. So yeah, Kyocera is a very well-known brand in Japan, and it covers many different products. And many people still ask me, "Do you sell printers or other type of products?" So we are a small division under the umbrella of Kyocera IBX, Kyocera. So we are in Kyocera IBX, which is the Advanced Electronic Components division of Kyocera. And there we are selling connectors, sensors, capacitors, and all type of products, electronic products. And we are under the RF division, where we cover RF components like filters and couplers. And I'm in the antenna section, so I'm the one in charge of the antennas worldwide. Mhm.
Fantastic. Was a former intrigues me, and I think a lot of people in my audience are interested in the supply chain and the semiconductor devices side of the market. And maybe introduce yourself a little bit about your role within Kyocera AVX and your background.
Yes. So my background is engineering. So I studied telecommunication engineering, where it covers very broad topics from the digital signaling to IT, microwave. And when I did the course of antennas, which was only one course in the whole 5 years, I really fell in love with the kind of black magic of the antennas it is, because one thing is the theory and the real different thing is the practice. And that's what I really like it. And I specialize on that. I did a master of hardware for wireless communications, focused on antennas. I did my master thesis on the German Aerospace Center. So I designed an antenna for an airplane, which I got some
Wow.
patents. So since there has been always an antennas. And my first job was in Flextronics Mobile. So that was a section of the big, ODM Flextronics, where we are designing antennas mostly for cell phones. So my first projects were doing antennas for Sony Ericsson and for Nokia, etc. And this is how everything started. Then we were acquired by a company called Ethertronics, which was my previous company. It's an American company which specializes in antennas, especially in active antennas. And after a few years working there, Kyocera ABS acquired us. And this is, AVX and then Kyocera ABX. And this is how we end up in this division. So my role, I passed from engineering. I moved into project management. And then I was general manager of Europe. So I covered the whole business. And when Kyocera ABX acquired us, I moved into the marketing role. So marketing is a bit misleading sometimes, because people think of marketing like doing, marketing communications, just making advertising and webinars. But this position is very strategic, and it's very, let's say, we are the link between the sales and the operations. So basically, we need to understand what are the needs of the markets of our customers, and then translate that into a roadmap to our operations to be, ahead of time to the needs of the industry. And of course, it's not only about technologies, but it's also about the pricing. It's not the same price when you're talking about automotive or medical, military, or of IoT. And so yeah, you're covering different parts. So this is the what we are doing in our department. Roadmaps, content to help our customers how to implement antennas, and understanding, and also pricing, etc. Mm-hmm.
Well, wonderful mission. Thank you so much. What an amazing career trajectory. I love how you described RF design is a black art. It's very much the case. And when it comes to antenna, it's kind of like wireless. It's invisible. You don't think about it, but it's so important to our devices and everything from cars to home electronics now have antenna embedded. So let's dive right in. For those of us who haven't been watching the market as closely as you, what are the top 3 or so trends in antenna technology, whether it's Automotive or Wi-Fi or IoT or 5G? What are you tracking these days to stay ahead of the bleeding edge?
So there's a lot of topics, I think we have in Kyocera VX, we have a very broad portfolio of products, and technologies, and we cover it then from the cellular, from laptops, and for the cell phone design, from laptops, and also automotive, IoT. So I can highlight a few of them. I think would be more interesting for the audience. For example, if we talk about automotive, everybody is aware, of course, of you have the TCUs, the sharp fins, the infotainment. Everybody's aware nowadays about that, but you would be surprised to understand how many antennas you can have inside the car. Like one example is now, for example, ultra wideband. So ultra wideband is some technology that's coming more and more into the cars, even for the key entry, because it's more secure. They give you more accuracy for indoor location. So there is a technology that is, and there are several antennas around the car in the key. And another example is the WBMS. So BMS stands for Battery Management System. And now with the electrical vehicles coming, so we'll have these packages with many different battery cells. And they used to be all wired. And now the trend is to become wireless, connecting between them and to the main control. So there you can have between 16 and 18 antennas, one per battery cell. The advantage is that if a cell gets broken or some malfunctioning, you just need to replace it directly. You don't need to, take the whole cabling out or it's much more complex, less weight, cheaper. So there's a lot of advantages, and we have products that have been approved by OEMs in the market. So all the electrical cars, we have our antennas inside. So it's very exciting topics that are going on in the automotive. Then you will talk, for example, in IoT. Then we are having, for example, satellite IoT is a very hot topic right now. We have been talking about low power, how to connect devices, technologies like NB-IoT, LoRa. So everything has been mostly terrestrial, and now in the last 1 or 2 years, we are seeing a lot of requests about connecting via satellite. So it's either via LoRa, using the NTN technologies, and there is different specifications depending of technology you are using. So there's a lot of work that we are doing in there in our roadmaps. Ultra wideband is also I mentioned for the automotive, but also in the IoT, it's not low power, but it's also maybe for indoor location devices you want it to be connected as well. Wi-Fi also is moving. So I think in almost every technology is bringing new things, either having more coverage, like in the IoT, higher speeds, like in Wi-Fi, you have the Wi-Fi 7 where you have many more antennas in there. You have also 5G. So yeah, please guide me because it's a lot of topics to talk. Well, I don't hear you, Ivan. Sorry.
Yeah, we have 6G, which is on the radar as well. So pun intended. So yeah, lots of trends for you to keep on top of. That's amazing. Let's talk customers a little bit. You really have a who's who of OEM customers who embed your technology in their systems. Can you talk about customer projects where, examples of you designed in to various OEM solutions? Maybe pick 1 or 2 favorite children sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe favorites not, but I think the most, because our biggest customers that are, for me, more than customers, sometimes we call them partners, are the ones that we have a very good relation, our engineering teams, and every time there is a new project, they come to us because they know they are going to solve the problem. They know that guarantee that it goes from the the specifications, what they are the needs, up to the mass production. So this is the kind of very good communication, which is very essential for antennas to succeed, is to have good communication with the engineering teams. They give us all the specifications. They say, okay, this is how the device is going to be, and this is the most, they say the highest success rate in projects is for wireless projects that they need embedded antennas, is to come when you already know you have a project. When the customer says it's too early, it's like, oh, he's not he's not aware of all the challenges he might find, because the size, everything affects the antenna performance. So the customer says, look, this is the kind of form factor, maybe just rectangle, circle, whatever shape, volume. And it said, this is the connectivity we want to implement. This is how many, antennas we need. Where should we place antennas? So then we help them reserve the areas for the antennas to have the best performance. And then from there, you go all the way smoothly into the mass production. The problems comes when customers, they think about antenna. They don't think about antenna first, and they do everything. They spend a lot of hours of days selecting the module with the lowest lowest power consumption, putting everything in place, trying to make this ring the design, in the layout, and then, now we need an antenna. If you put an external antenna, maybe it's not as critical, because of course you can play a lot just with the connector. But if the antenna is inside the device, that's where the real challenge comes. Because you might have, if your device, depending the frequencies that you're using, if you're using cellular, for example, the length of the device is very important. So, and I always put the example of the cell phones. No, it's not that everybody agreed to have the same kind of size of the cell phone. It's because that is the optimum size for the frequencies you're radiating. So this is a little bit the same. No, the IoT, especially in IoT devices, they tend to be very small, and trackers exactly very small. And the customer think, oh, now the antenna is just to tape a sticker there and it will work. And that's not the case. So I have an example of customer who is very successful in trackers, and they have this very, very small tracker where they just have an antenna stick on the housing. And of course it was, it's not working. And, our partners, they contact us, say, can you help this customer? Is stuck there. And we really helped them to move from something was not really functioning at all to a successful product. And from there, we launched many new versions coming. And the key is about, how it's not only about antenna design, it's how it's implemented, the grounding connections, and how, it's so many things that are affecting in such a small devices. So we need to guide them, you need to have a reliable design that when you close it, you will always have the same kind of performance, and not depending, each device has a different one, and so on. So this is like an example of how we can help. Of course, it was very difficult because you are playing with a frozen design. So there's very few changes you can do. It would have been easier from the beginning, but sometimes we have this kind of projects that we help customers which are stuck with some poor designs, and we help them to turn around.
Amazing. Well, that's an incredible description then. Not a typical project. So I'm sure every project is pretty unique, which is always fun and interesting. What about internally? What sort of strategic initiatives are you currently thinking about? I imagine you think about things like manufacturing course and increasing efficiencies and yield and performance on the manufacturing side. What else? What do you think about, like long-term, 3-5 years ahead?
Yeah, so we have different type of projects running on. For example, one of the things is more into the product side, let's say, more than in the let's see in performance. It's the product strategy is that we have a big range of standard products. So the standard products are, we call it the standard, but in reality it says like the radiator is standard, you change the environment. So let's say that in reality, for most of the embedded antennas, you either you make the custom antenna or you make a standard product that you change the surrounding to make it work. So there's always some kind of customization, either matching components or surroundings and so on. So most typical manufacturing technologies that are for standard products, you are using PCB, metal, ceramic, flexible PCB. So these are the typical products that are used for embedded antennas. There is a manufacturing technology called LDS, which is laser direct structuring. In this case, we are directly applying the antenna to the plastic. So it's a plastic with a special resin, which when you laser it, you will the part that you have burned with the laser will have will activate some particles inside the resin that will get plated when you go into the plating process. And this is really a big advantage because they allowed us to have a full 3D structure. When you are using, for example, stamped metal or flexible PCBs, you are transforming a 2D structure into a 3D shape. Here you can really put the antenna in a 3D structure. This technology is very mature, has been in the cell phone design for many, many years. It's a bit more expensive, for example, than a normal plastic, but nowadays it's becoming, especially with the high volumes, it's becoming more competitive. But until now, we have always applied it into custom designs. When you have a small tracker and you want to have many antennas in there, we can put all the antennas in the housing, directly in the housing, etc. Now we have started our family of standard antennas in LDS technology, and our first product has been what we call it the tulip antenna for ultra wideband. We call it tulip because it looks like a flower, and this is a very unique product because it's designed to give a constant phase around the antenna and improve the accuracy of the ultra wideband. It has won an award in the embedded world. And so it has been very successful so far. We have tested it with partners in ultra wideband, and based on that, we have came with new ideas of products that we want to launch in there because we are giving us the flexibility to be able to create different type of patterns that can help improve the antenna performance using the same kind of carrier. So we have this flexibility. So this is something that we are seeing coming more and more standard products in LDS to bring more benefits into the standard antenna portfolio, for example.
Nice, well done. Sounds intriguing. Let's talk 5G. You're a major player in the 5G antenna world. Maybe talk about what's next. We have 5.5, even 6G on the radar. And, or 5G, millimeter wave 5G is starting to get real traction, as well as, of course, all of the IoT variants. You have a lot going on there, I think.
Yes, and it's always even one more factor, right? So I guess you're familiar with the typical triangle when it explains the 5G, right? When you have the massive IoT devices connected, you have the very high speeds of the millimeter wave, you have the very low latency on the other side. And now I will say that you have even one more, which is like in the middle when you have the 5G red cap, the reduced capacity, which is kind of like an IoT, which has also low latency, but you have less antennas and so on. So we are really, as I said, catching up with what is the needs of the market. So many times we learn the things directly from the customers because we are doing, projects, I don't know, like maybe for fixed wireless access or for, using in RedCap or so. So you get directly the specifications from the customers. Other times we are trying to get from our partners. We partner with module makers. We understand, okay, what is the needs? What is your module? What are the bands you are using? And then we try to, be ahead and try to have the products that can match those modules, like a good starting point for these customers. For example, when you have in 5G and you are using a MIMO 4 antennas, not all the 4 antennas are using all the bands. Some ports are using only the high bands. So in that case, we are designing antennas. Okay, these antennas cover all the bands. This one, you're going to have only the high bands. So then you can improve the isolation. You can have less space. And that is a benefit for our customers.
Wonderful. Well, good luck on that. And I understand that Kyocera, like many Japanese firms, really take sustainability seriously. It's not just lip service. You really design it into the products as well as think about repair and recycling. Tell us more about your work there, because you do talk about that quite a bit.
Yeah, so there's different, let's say, activities that we are carrying in sustainability, at least in my department. Of course, there are some major ones from corporate side, but I will talk about the ones that are closer to me. So for antennas, one of them, for example, are the packing. So we are really working on how we can optimize the packing to use less plastics, to reduce the amount of packing material that we are using. We are also, for example, creating outgassing reports. So we have done that for many customers, and we are also looking into for the standard products. So we want to see, okay, the materials we are using, the glues, etc. Make sure they're not when they are produced and they are not having any toxic gases coming out of that. And of course, also, for example, the LDS technology that I mentioned, there is starting to be some plastics which are partially recyclable. So we are starting to use not only pure new plastics, but also use some recyclable parts. So again, to reduce the use of plastics in our production. So it's a long-term play, because one of the biggest challenges, Ivan, is that there is a lot of things that we could do, and we are doing. But there are many things that is also it costs. So many customers are asking us to reduce. There is a lot of customers also looking into reducing the footprint, the CO2 footprint, right? For example, we have different factories. We have factories in China, in Korea, and Vietnam. So many customers says, okay, if we are assembling the final device in Vietnam, we want you to produce in Vietnam. We don't want you to produce in China and ship everything to Vietnam, for example. So there is a lot of things going on, but at the end of the day, some of them are easy to implement. Some other ones will have some extra costs that, we need to see how to handle it. But the goal is there, and we will keep working to provide more and more sustainable products and packing.
Well done. Well, here's to that success. And speaking of success, you have a lot of it. You've had a lot of success. You have a lot on your plate this year. What are you looking forward to personally and as a team over the next few months? Do you have any events or travel or otherwise out in the marketplace?
So, well, we keep working a lot, especially with partners. We have many nice projects that we are working on in bringing solutions, let's say like reference designs and solutions to make it easier. I would say that in one sentence, my goal is to make it easier to our customers. I don't want them to think, oh, this is black magic. I don't know. I'd be scared. I want to teach them. And many times I feel I'm more than I'm teaching and educating customers, which is very important, because then they will make the right decisions. So our goal is to make it easier for our customers, even doing by reference designs, by making a lot of tools that we have online to make the right selection of the products, and to give them as much content as possible to make it easier for them. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Well, that's a great goal. Customer experience is king. So in the antenna design world, that's important as well. Well, congratulations on the success. Thanks so much for sharing a little peek behind the curtain at your team. And I hope to see you at the latest at the next Mobile World Congress in
Absolutely.
Barcelona.
Great. It will be great to see you.
All right,
Thank
Carmen,
you, Ivan.
thanks so much. And thanks, everyone. Reach out to Kyocera and check out their solutions. And thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. Take care, everyone. Bye.